Today on Guess What I Found Out, in part one of a two-part series, we're going to discover some facts about a place so cold, so remote, and so aggressively unwelcoming that even penguins look like they're reconsidering their life choices. Yes, Curious George, we're diving into Antarctica, the continent that really said, what if we took a freezer, put it inside a bigger freezer, then threw that freezer into the ocean? And before you think, how bad can it be? Let me start with this bold claim. Antarctica is so massive, so thick, and so loaded with frozen water that if all its ice melted, your beach house would be in the Atlantic, somewhere near Kansas. If that made your brain twitch a little, go ahead and tap that like button like you're trying to warm your fingers back up. You'll need them for this icy ride. Let's start with scale. Antarctica is the fifth largest continent, bigger than Europe, bigger than Australia, bigger than the lower 48 United States. It's the heavyweight champ of frozen disappointment. During the Antarctic summer, around 4,000 people live there. During the winter, only 1,000, which means the population drops harder than your motivation on a Monday morning. And honestly, who can blame them? Antarctica is so far from civilization that the closest major settlement is Ushuaia, Argentina, separated by the Drake Passage, which sailors lovingly nicknamed, "Please don't let me die." This stretch of ocean is the roughest on Earth. Winds and currents smack ships around like they owe the ocean money. Waves reach 65 feet, which is great if you're surfing in your nightmares. But Antarctica wasn't discovered until 1820, because realistically, nobody was in a rush. Now, let's talk ice. And no, not your cute refrigerator ice. I'm talking an ice sheet that covers 98% of the continent and averages 2 kilometers thick, hitting nearly 5 kilometers in places. Antarctica basically said, layers? Yes, all of them. This colossal ice sheet holds 61% of Earth's freshwater. If it melted, sea levels would rise 60 meters, wiping out every coastal city and probably a few that aren't coastal yet. The sun would set on Florida faster than a bad real estate investment. If that fun fact didn't convince you to follow this channel, Curious George, hit that follow button like it's a space heater in a blizzard. So, what's under all that ice? Well, thanks to radio echo sounding, which is basically flying planes and blasting radio waves downward like a geological bat, we know a little. Unfortunately, 90% of Antarctica's land is still unmapped, meaning we literally know more about the surface of Mars. Mars, the red one, with dust storms and questionable life choices. But here's what we do know. If you stripped Antarctica of its ice, the whole continent would split into two different regions. Greater Antarctica, the eastern, older, stable chunk of the continent made of ancient metamorphic rocks. And then there's Lesser Antarctica, the western half, built from volcanic islands, tectonic fractures, and questionable terrain choices. It belongs to the Ring of Fire, meaning it's sitting on some of the most hyperactive fault lines on Earth. So, one of its volcanoes, Mount Erebus, is actually the southernmost active volcano on the planet. And get this, it has a literal lava lake inside the crater. Antarctica really said, you came for the cold? Here's some molten spicy water for balance. Under the Denman Glacier, you'll find the deepest land canyon on Earth's surface, plunging 3.5 kilometers beneath sea level. That's honestly deeper than the average depth of the Atlantic Ocean. Antarctica didn't have to flex like that, but, well, here we are. And then there's the Gamburtsev mountain range, discovered back in 1958. It's 1,200 kilometers long, with peaks reaching up to 2,700 meters, all buried under 600 meters of ice. Yes, Antarctica has an entire hidden mountain range just vibing under frozen darkness like a geological introvert. Now, here's where things get spicy. In East Antarctica, researchers found a 243-kilometer-wide gravity anomaly, which is scientists' code for, wait, something big hit this thing. In 2006, a theory emerged. This could be a 480-kilometer-wide meteor crater, buried beneath miles of ice. If true, this would be the largest impact crater on Earth, created by a space rock 4 to 5 times larger than the asteroid that wiped out the dinosaurs. Scientists estimate the impact happened somewhere between 100 million and 500 million years ago, which lines up suspiciously with the Permian-Triassic extinction, also known as the Great Dying, the mass extinction event that killed 81% of marine species and 57% of all biological families. Imagine surviving Earth's worst environmental disaster only to learn Antarctica was hiding the murder weapon the whole time. Some scientists even believe this massive impact may have helped crack the Gondwana supercontinent, like a geological baseball bat breaking a prehistoric piñata. So, Curious George, in part 1 of this 2-part Antarctica series, we've learned Antarctica is enormous, unforgiving, hiding secret mountain ranges, storing world-destroying amounts of ice, and possibly covering up the largest murder mystery in planetary history. And as wild as all that is, it gets stranger. Because beneath all this ice, hidden in caves, lakes and frozen darkness, scientists have found life. Weird life, isolated life, ancient life. And that's where things truly go off the rails. If you're enjoying this deep freeze of a story, hit that like button like you're striking a match in a snowstorm. Follow for more mind-bending discoveries and get ready. Because life under Antarctica is far stranger than anything above it. Just wait till tomorrow for part 2 of this Antarctica series, where we'll discover even more mind-blowing facts about this weird and wonderful continent. Do you have any wild facts or theories about Antarctica's origins or this giant impact crater? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to see what's rattling around in that curious brain of yours.